YouTube? Welcome back to another video. As you can tell, we got the E36 in the garage today and we got a whole slew of new suspension parts. As you can see, it's a full entire coilover kit from CATuned, and they were kind enough to send this out for me so I can run it on the E36 here. Now, the E36 doesn't drive the best right now. It has a very stiff suspension, and I think that's because we got some Bilstein springs on there. And with this, we can actually dial in our dampening and get it softer or stiffer if we wanted, based off of these little knobs and the clicks. So excited about that. And I think this will be just one of the first steps in just refreshing everything on this car. So we're gonna be installing this today, hopefully figuring out what else needs to be replaced. I already know like the outer tie rods need to be replaced, so we'll deal with that eventually as well. But I think this is gonna be a good place to start. And if you guys are wondering why we're throwing coilovers on the car when we're already pretty low, it's because I do want the height adjustability. Right now with the springs, there's no height adjustment. And with the wheel setup that we're gonna be running and the tire setup, I do want some adjustments so we can dial in fitment to be exact and perfect. And with this, we should be able to do that. But that's enough talking. Let's go ahead and get these installed. I think overall it should be a rather simple process, nothing crazy. And that is when the fun stuff starts. We are gonna be adding some extra stuff like new sway bar end links. That's gonna go on. Some reinforcements for the rear struts, just so we don't rip through the strut tower, and then small things like that. So let's go ahead and get started and see how this goes. Honestly, you guys are not gonna believe this. It's literally been 10 minutes. I was almost done on one side, at least getting the old strut out. And with my luck, my freaking ratchet broke. It doesn't spin anymore. So I'm stuck in the center. It doesn't spin either direction, so it's basically like a wrench at this point. And I'm not sure what to do. I don't have another one of these, and this is what I need. I need a 3/8 ratchet. For the most part, that's probably the main tool for this job, and it just stopped working. It's not no Harbor Freight either. This is Husky, like not the best, but shouldn't be breaking like this. I guess we'll see what we can do. Got the first side done, and it wasn't too hard, but it looks like we actually had a set of Bilstein coilovers on here, and these are the, I'm not sure, but these things are pretty beat. They look like they've been run on here for a few years at least. So what we're gonna do now is actually just replace these, because no matter what, we're not sure how old these things are, and they weren't riding the best. So why not replace them while we're at it? And I think this is going to be a good move. These are the new ones. So honestly, not much of a difference, but what we're going to go ahead and do is use the overall length of this one, maybe even lift it up a little bit, just so it's a little bit higher, and then we can throw the new wheels on and we won't have to really adjust it again. So I'm going to go ahead and start adjusting. So let's see here. So we're sitting at about 23 and a half, or maybe 23 3/4. So we're gonna try to adjust the next ones maybe to 24 and a half, something like that, because we do need to bring the car up just a tad bit. So right now we're sitting at about 21, no, 20 and a half. So yeah, we're gonna bring this up a few inches and then make sure that the other side is exactly the same, and put these on. And yeah, we're actually going higher. I never thought I would be lifting a car instead of lowering it, but in this case we're gonna be lifting it. It's the next day now, and we got the entire front end of the car dialed in. Everything is now tightened up, bolted in, and good to go. Now, unfortunately, with our strut reinforcement plates here, can't get our dampening adjustment knobs in. Touches the bottom of this when you're trying to install it. So we should still be able to do the dampening adjustment. We'll just have to take off this top hat piece for the strut brace, and then manually do it, and then pull it off, and then readjust it later after the fact. So, but overall, I think it's gonna be good. The fact that we even have the adjustability versus these, we didn't. So it's a bonus there. Now we can start focusing on the rears themselves. I think it should be rather simple. Should be one bolt that holds the strut in, take that out, get the spring out, and then from there we just toss the new stuff in. So fingers crossed, hopefully it's that easy. I will say that and then it gets harder for some reason. But yeah, let's go ahead and start tackling the rear and see how it goes. Very weird things here. For one, I don't think this is a Bilstein perch. I think this is a max speeding rod perch because they have the exact same color on their spring perches as this one right here. So I don't know if this was made to be a coilover kit, but that's my guess, unless Bilstein has that same color and I'm just wrong. But my guess is that it's max speeding rods. Nothing wrong with that. It didn't drive the worst. It wasn't good, but if you all know E36s, you know that the strut towers are usually a weak point. So if you don't reinforce them with something, oftentimes something can go wrong and you can even rip or crack the strut tower. And on this side, talk about reinforcement, just look at that. They got a huge welt right here. Now, I'm not sure if this is as strong as it seems, but this is a solid piece of like a metal plate right here. Good to see at least, but it doesn't look the cleanest. So that's kind of worrisome. It's always funny to see work done by other people who own this car or own cars in general and how they do the work. Not always the best, but it is what it is. Rears, that was super easy. That I could do 1,000 times and not have an issue, but that took all of 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe because I was recording, but could have done that in 5 minutes if you really wanted to. But now we just do the same thing on the other side and we are good to drop this thing on the floor. We got the front and the rears completed. It's time to go ahead and start buttoning this car back up, put the wheels on. Hopefully we got the ride height at a decent spot, but we won't really have to mess with that until we get our new wheels on. Then we'll kind of do the final fit and finish. For now, we'll throw the stock wheels on. Actually, let's go ahead and test fit the new wheels, see how they look. I think we need to see how they look. Oh wait, do they not fit? So here we are. We got monster truck ride height in the front. We got a full fist. Exactly what I wanted. No, I'm joking. That's 10 times higher than I expected it to be, but that makes sense because where we're sitting with the coilovers, we measured it up based off of what we had lengthwise on this. So it doesn't really necessarily translate that it's gonna be the same ride height or a little bit higher. So that's fine. I'd rather be too high than too low. We'll dial this in once we get the new wheels on, but unfortunately, I don't know if that's gonna happen anytime soon. What you guys saw was our wheels don't fit. The hub size that they put on these wheels aren't made for the 36 here. They look like they're 69 millimeters, but these are 72.5, something like that. So yeah, they're not matching up and that is devastating. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get another set made and let alone like quick enough where I can get them in a week or two because that's kind of when I need them. Yeah, I'm really at a loss for words right now. I did all this to put some wheels on and the wheels don't even fit. I should have tested them when I got them, but in my head, they're Apexes. They should fit the E36. I made sure to clarify, it's for the E36, 72.5 hub bore, and it's nowhere near that. So I don't think it's a communication issue. I think it's just a production issue there. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna try to get to the bottom of that. I think I'm gonna call it here for today, at least while I situate that. But again, like, that blows. And it looks like a monster truck. Man. Okay, well, I guess that's all we can do right now. I'll keep you guys updated if I find a solution, but until then, we're gonna be running the stockies. well, thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. Peace.